So hi everyone, welcome to the second iteration of Daytona Office Hours. As we did last week, we'll do just a quick overview over the last release that happened last Friday, and go over some of the contributor, let's say, highlights and shoutouts, and then move on to saying what we have planned for the next release and generally what we're working on at the moment. So let me just share my screen for a sec. Okay. So the last release we covered last week was version 0.18.0, and now the second release after that is 0.19.0. As you can see, we have a couple of features here and a couple of fixes, and also a few breaking changes that were covered here, and they look like a lot, but it's really a simple, not too simple fixes. So regarding the features, we implemented custom builder registry configuration, which means that users can now use their own container registries as let's say, build storage. Previously, you could only use the local registry that was spun up by Daytona to use for your build artifacts, but now you can use any registry available by just configuring your credentials inside of it. And this PR actually produced the first breaking change, which just requires you to modify a couple of properties within the server config. The next PR was by an external contributor, Mobley Trent, which just tackles the force removing of your workspace. This change is actually very helpful when you have an error, for example, with your provider, or maybe your provider is no longer available, or there's an issue with the resource at hand, and just forcing the workspace removal will essentially ignore all the errors with the provider and the target, and just remove the workspace from your Daytona database. Then moving on, we have read server logs while starting as daemon. This is, again, another quality of life change, which I can demonstrate really quickly. So when you run Daytona, the Daytona server in daemon mode with Daytona server, now you'll get logs streamed into the foreground, which means you know what's going on with the Daytona server. And this is also really useful, especially useful when there's an error when starting the Daytona server. Then you'll get the error in the foreground immediately, and then you can intervene and fix the error, let's say. So that's a quality of life change. And then we have direct API and headscale access. This PR actually provides a great improvement with running local Daytona workspaces. So using the local Docker target, which spins up containers on your local machine. So if I can demonstrate that right now. So if I do Daytona create, let me just do it here because I have command stored, Daytona create HTTPS. Okay. What we did is we enabled direct access to the API for local workspaces, and you notice that the creation process is much faster than before. The reasoning behind that is this line right here. So you'll see that we essentially override the installation path or the download path for the Daytona binary inside local projects, which just allows projects to access the API locally via the host Docker internal host name, and then that essentially just downloads the binary directly into the container. This means you don't have to do a round trip via our reverse proxy, which then actually slows down the creation process, because your creation process is actually reliant on your upload and your download speed. So another quality of life change, which really improves the creation process of local workspaces. Then a couple of fixes. So the first was the custom image builder. Builder selection, just a minor fix regarding the release beforehand. Then we have a fix for the workspace creation that fails when the project has spaces. This was actually, again, quality of life and actually a bounty that was solved by Tarun, which essentially just validates project names to include only alphanumeric characters and dashes, and let's say those allowed characters, and rejects requests that don't comply with that. And then we improve the workspace creation summary view. So when you create a workspace, for example, with multi-project enabled, let's say I want to do github.com, I'll do my GitHub repo, and then let's do Ivan's repo. Okay, we're ready. So this issue is actually regarding this summary view right here, to give users more info when creating multiple projects, and then let's say, for example, swapping configurations as well. So if I do F10 and I want to change something here, I'll put it to dev container, for example. You'll see that automatically updates here in the summary review. So again, quality of life improvement that gives the user more feedback as to what workspace will be created with which options in this advanced configuration view. And then just a couple of just one chore, workspace mode tagline, nothing special, again regarding to our docs generation. And maybe you saw that we had also a patch release released 2 days ago, which was regarding just a couple of fixes that we, mostly regressions that we introduced with 0.19.0, which was fixing the panic on git status, which happens sometimes when creating a workspace and the git status doesn't get updated fast enough. And then also just some default project configuration creation, again, a simple regression that was fixed, and then the dev container builder choice, again regarding to the advanced configuration view when you pick a dev container as your builder. Just a couple of fixes, nothing really major to say. So those are the, let's say, the short overview of the last couple of releases. What we have coming up in the next release. So if we check out the code, and we can see, so from the last release, we didn't actually merge anything to main currently, but we do have a couple of open PRs that will probably end up in the next release, which we plan on releasing on Friday, as we do every week. So for example, maybe the Gitnes provider will be pushed to Friday if Rutik, our external contributor, will, let's say, addresses the couple of small fixes needed to push that out. So the Gitnes provider, if you don't know, is another Git provider which we plan on supporting in Daytona, and we plan on supporting as many Git providers as we can to, let's say, expand upon what we offer and allow more users to use Daytona in their workflows. No matter which Git provider they use. We also have allow user to override workspace image at creation. This was an issue that was open a couple of weeks ago and was tackled by our newest member, Luca, which just allows you to pass in a couple of flags during the creation process. So after this PR after the next release, so you can do the Daytona create, let's say, HTTPS that, and then I can do custom image right here, and then pass the custom image and custom image user, or I can do dev container path, and then do the path, input the path right here without going through the terminal user interface. This is especially, let's say, not important, but especially catered towards users that love scripting and are more familiar with scripting than preferring the actual terminal interface. So this might speed up their workflows even more. Then we have just a small fix with using Git providers that that are not hosted with HTTPS. This is again from an external contributor, LabHub. So again, a small issue that we filed just a few days ago with Git providers that are not hosted with HTTPS. And one more quality of life change that will actually allow the Daytona CLI and the Daytona server to know which version they're using. So for example, if you notice some error with the API itself, that error might be caused with a mismatch of versions between the Daytona CLI and the server itself. And this change will just warn the user that they are using different versions on the, let's say, front end and on the back end of things. And this might help out users to upgrade and sync the versions on those two ends. That's what we have currently opened as the PRs that probably will go to the next release. Oh, and also one more, let's say, the most important and the most visual improvement will be the logging improvements by our colleague Ivan. These improvements are largely focused on improving the creation flow. So when you get those logs while creating a workspace, this PR will make it much more, let's say, pretty and obvious to the user as to what's going on, and then allow us to expand upon the logs and then add more features regarding logging later. Also, one major thing we're working on, if we check out the issues here, the issue was opened by our CTO veteran, and I'm currently working on it, is the workspace creation flow refactor. This issue, solving this issue will lead to moving the, let's say, the entire creation process, including building the dev container, starting the dev container, or any other configuration standard, moving it off the server and moving that entire creation flow to the host where the actual target is. So, for example, if you use the remote Docker target on some remote server, now the creation process, including the dev container spin up and building, will happen on that host machine, amongst other improvements that we did inside of this issue. So this will help users that, for example, don't have Docker installed or don't want to build the container on their local machine and want to offload that remotely. And also, for example, if you need GPU support or any other, let's say, advanced capabilities of dev container, that will all be covered with this, with solving this PR. And we hope to get it pushed by Friday, or we'll see if we can save it for the next release next week if it's not ready. So I guess that was the, let's say, overview of what we have coming up for the next release on Friday. Maybe to touch up on some of the issues right here, we opened a few issues that are, let's say, either quality of life, like a couple of the enhancements we have in the backlog, but we also opened a couple of bugs that regarding, for example, missing terminal cursor, which we already have a contributor working on it. But you'll see that most of the newer issues are smaller improvements, while we're still working on the, let's say, major improvements like the workspace creation flow, or let's say pre-builds, or project and workspace templates, and such issues, which you can expect to see in the next few releases. And I'll keep you updated in these office hours as well. So if I don't know if anyone has any questions about the previous releases or what we have coming up, or if anyone needs an update on some of the issues we are discussing in the issues board, I'm happy to get that answered now. If not, I'll hold on for a while. If not, I suggest we actually end office hours now. You all know how to reach us. As I said, you'll have links in the description down below to join our community Slack, to our links to our socials. You can reach us out, or reach out to us via any of these channels, and of course using GitHub. We're always watching, and we are always ready to connect. So if no one has any questions, I'll just end the recording, and that will be it for this very short second iteration of Daytona office hours. Thanks for being here.